Oh wow, the Access Media is coming around to the idea that Warner Brothers Discovery, hey guys, they could be up for sale. Like seriously? This is old ass news. And plus you could tell at the time when David Zaslav came in all those years back that yeah, he's a guy that has an eye for money and a little else. So there's a couple of reasons that he could be coming in, and one of those is manifesting right goddamn now. So yes, Warner Brothers Discovery is for sale after all. I know, big shocker, right? As multiple parties circle, and yeah, we're going to talk about them, but first and foremost, the ones that I want to talk about are in fact the Paramount Skydance conglomerate, David Ellison's little pet project out there. Because, yeah, in the couple of days that we haven't been talking about this story that I guess is all brand new according to the Hollywood Reporter, holy shit, Paramount has penned a second offer and that has been rejected. And it was looking, pretty decent, all things considered. So, yes, Warner Brothers Discovery has turned down a second acquisition bid from Paramount Skydance. The updated bid, valued at roughly $24 per share, up from the initial $20 offer, was swiftly rejected by David Zaslav, signaling that Warner Brothers Discovery isn't looking for a quick sale. Yeah, because I think I've heard some other stuff that Zaslav is seeking for a big, takeover like this. $30 a share, $30 or $40 a share. It could have been as high as 50, but I think that is just like absolutely insane. But yeah, at this point in time, I mean, is 30 going to be off the table? Well, we'll take a look. Following weeks of speculation and internal leaks, Warner Brothers Discovery officially confirmed that it is reviewing strategic alternatives after receiving interest from multiple parties. The company continues moving forward with its planned 2026 split between Warner Brothers and Discovery Global, a move Zaslav has reportedly engineered to increase the studio's value before any deal is finalized. The decision appears to be paying off. The company's stock surged to its highest point in 3 years, briefly topping 20.33 per share, surpassing the price of Ellison's first offer. Analysts now suggest that Warner Brothers leadership views the valuation range between $28 and $32 per share. Okay, so it was, somewhere in on and around that $30 mark, depending on future bids from Paramount and others still along the ongoing market strength. Despite the two rejections, industry watchers still consider David Ellison's Paramount Skydance the front runner. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking, man. At some point in time, and especially with as quickly as these offers are coming in, because earlier on Thursday, Warner Brothers rejected a third Paramount bid despite the offer to keep Zaslav as co-CEO, something that has also been speculated on because Zaslav either wants a big, cushy golden parachute on his way out the door, or he also wants to maintain a little bit of control and not be replaced by people that are even more money-centric than he is, and I know that sounds hard to believe, but they do in fact exist. In a stunning revelation from the New York Times, Warner Brothers Discovery reportedly turned down 3 separate acquisition offers from Paramount Skydance, including one that would have made Warner Brothers CEO David Zaslav the co-CEO and co-chairman of a merged company. Wow. That's honestly, I would take that as a promotion, especially if you're going to be merging Warner Brothers and Paramount, which that's massive, man. That could be one of, actually, what am I saying? What could be? That could be the biggest Hollywood merger we have likely ever seen, because you have Paramount, especially at its peak powers, was a huge studio. It's become a shell of its former self, obviously, but then you have Warner Brothers, which is like it's Warner Brothers. How do I properly characterize the enormity and the impact of that studio in and of itself? So yes, merging both of those together and being the 1A calling the shots, like, that is huge. Okay. The final proposal, the most aggressive Paramount bid yet, offered an 87% premium over Warner Brothers' share price prior to the news of the talks breaking last month. Paramount's first offer came in mid-September at $19 per share, rising to $22 per share later that month. The final bid, sent on October 13th, offered $23.50 per share in cash and stock, according to the letter obtained and reviewed by the New York Times. Now, what made this bid particularly striking is its cash-heavy structure. Yes, Paramount raised the payout to 80% cash. Holy shit. An increase in reverse termination fee to $2.1 billion if the deal fell through. Shit. Even more remarkably, the offer reportedly guaranteed Zaslav a co-CEO position alongside Paramount's chief executive, David Ellison, signaling an attempt to ease concerns about leadership continuity during a massive corporate merger. Despite these concessions, Warner Brothers Discovery Discovery Board rebuffed the offer, choosing instead to open the doors to other bidders, which, yeah, those names and a list of suitors is beginning to amass exactly what Zaslav is looking for to continue to drive up that price and bring it closer to that $32 mark, which in the next couple of weeks I could imagine could very likely happen. Companies reportedly interested in buying Warner Brothers. Okay, you got Apple, you got Amazon, you got Netflix, and a NBC Universal, which is a fucking hilarious because that is another company that is in fact a shell of its former self. And them themselves, I mean, like, they've been primed for a takeover or a merger. But it's interesting because if you take a look at that announcement, you know, these companies, okay, the ones that we were spitballing back when the rumors broke, you take a look at a lot of those suitors, okay, because you got the, phone company in Apple, you got the e-com in Amazon, you got the streamer in Netflix. What would any of them really want or have to do with traditional cable networks? That is not really what they're all about. Like, Amazon has their own streaming site, sure, Apple just rebranded theirs because they finally decided that, having that plus at the end of it is kind of retarded. So yeah, if we just go with Apple TV, is like, yeah, it probably sounds a little bit better, all things said and done. But the only one, if they're looking to do like a full takeover and it fits within the purview of their business, is of course NBC Universal, but I would consider them to be a distant fifth on that list, all things said and done. But when you take a look at the recharacterization of this stuff, buying Warner Brothers assets, I mean, it becomes a little bit more viable. Yeah. So yes, Netflix interested in acquiring Warner Brothers film and TV assets. And yet, somehow the story keeps getting worse. Bloomberg is reporting that Netflix has interest in acquiring Warner Brothers film and TV assets, but not the networks. Meaning that, like, if that's split, okay, the Warner Brothers and Discovery TV split ends up going through next year, as intended, the Discovery side of life, they could just end up continuing on in perpetuity with nobody really caring about traditional cable networks. Meaning that you would have a Warnerless TBS, TNT, CNN, all of that stuff. And just everything that is sheltered under the current Warner Brothers and then eventually the Warner Brothers Studio banner, that could end up being pieced and sold off. Okay, if Netflix were to take control of Warner Brothers, the consequences of the film industry would be grim. Well, I got news for you. What's the big shot callers in Hollywood right now? Well, that would be Netflix. Unless of course Netflix uses Warner Brothers as a theatrical release arm, which they won't. Their end goal is to eradicate theatrical. Okay, most likely Warner Brothers film legacy would be absorbed into Netflix's streaming first strategy. Yeah, no. Imagine Christopher Nolan's films, yes, once synonymous with theatrical experience, locked inside Netflix's library. I mean, it's not that difficult to theorize. I mean, how many films does Scorsese put out on Apple? Well, anyways. But yes, fresh off of taking control of Paramount last month, David Ellison has an even bigger ambition. Despite a recently failed bid and a second and a third, Ellison is still very much eyeing the acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery, the parent company of HBO, CNN, and Warner Brothers Pictures. The big news this morning is that Warner Brothers Discovery is now officially up for sale. In that announcement, Warner Brothers Discovery, their shares hit a 52-week high. The news followed weeks of a deal chatter surrounding Hollywood giant led by David Zaslav. The company indicated that there's no timeline, but TD Cowen analyst Doug Kreutz, in a reaction note, outlined the most likely scenario. Now, we continue to think a transaction with Paramount Skydance is a reasonably likely. We are more skeptical that other, more attractive bidders will emerge. Yeah, because it's like, for as many amazing IPs, okay? Because this is always why it's boggled the mind as to why Warner Brothers can be in the state that it is, because you take a look at the franchises that they own and have access to them, and access to it. And it's like, how do you continue to fail so much? You have Harry Potter, you have the theatrical rights to the Lord of the Rings, you have George R.R. Martin's works, you have Mortal Kombat, and oh yeah, by the way, you have DC, you have Batman, you have Superman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, and yet you've done nothing for like a good decade and a half. It's amazing how much you fumbled. But hey, if you did a good job, we wouldn't be talking about this story right now, because it wouldn't exist, because Warner Brothers would be A-okay. Kreutz's prediction should be taken seriously for several reasons. He has a strong track record now when it comes to forecasting major entertainment industry moves, and his firm, TD Cowen, is known for its data-driven assessment of media mergers and acquisitions. The fact remains that Ellison Skydance already has deep financial backing to make this happen. It is also no secret that the pool of potential rival bidders from Warner Brothers Discovery is thin, given Ellison's aggressive expansion strategy and his lack of serious competitors. The potential for a Paramount Skydance Warner Brothers Discovery deal is very real. If Ellison Skydance were to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, the effects of the movie and media landscape would be enormous. Just imagine Paramount Pictures, Warner Brothers, HBO, and CNN all under one roof. Well, you're just throwing Paramount in on that one, but then you've also got the CBS side of life, and all that entails. Ergo, why they seem like the most likely suitors for a potential Warner Brothers sale. Yes, on the film side, this could reshape franchise strategy. IP like Harry Potter and James Gunn's DCU could be shaken up. Oh yes, very much so, and we will in fact be talking a little bit more about the James Gunn side of that equation here. Very likely tomorrow. I think I'll have something on that tomorrow because yeah, his future is very much tied to the present over there at Warner Brothers, and guys, yeah, it's not that great. So a sale of Warner Brothers looks to be on the horizon. Who's going to be picking up what, or is it going to be sold as a package? Only time will tell at this point in time, but about the only thing that is certain is that the Warner Brothers you know right now isn't going to look like the Warner Brothers of the future, isn't going to look like the Warner Brothers of the next 5, 2, or even year at this point. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.